The security establishment and the government are learned to have got advance intelligence inputs about a possible attack targeting tourists staying in hotels in and around Srinagar days before the Pahalgam Massacre, in which terrorists killed 25 tourists and a local, officials aware of developments said to the Indian Express. In fact, the officials said, given the threat of an attack, there was heightened security presence in the foothills of the Zabarwan range overlooking the Dal Lake and the Mughal Gardens in Srinagar. A top official who did not wish to be named said, quote unquote, the police brass, including the Director General of Police, had camped in the valley for a few days before the attack. They, which means security agencies, including the J&K police, had intelligence. They were anticipating an attack. They thought it would be a hotel on the outskirts of Srinagar, because civilian killings have happened mostly in South Kashmir. After they received this intel, combing operations were undertaken around Dachigam, Nishat and adjacent areas over 10 to 15 days preceding the Pahalgam terror attack. But these did not yield any breakthrough. And that's what the official said to the Indian Express. A source in the J&K police, however, said the intelligence inputs were not specific and came to light only after the incident, and one must not read too much into these. Now, the officials also sought to dispel speculation in some quarters that the Baisaran Meadow tourist spot was opened without any alert. The official said, and I quote, "It was always open. There is not a single piece of paper in the records to suggest it was a regulated tourist spot." Now, the officials who did not wish to be identified also said the security establishment is now certain there were 4 terrorists who carried out the Pahalgam attack, and 2 of whom were from the valley. The official said, quote unquote, "We could verify this after the identities of the suspects were matched with details of Kashmiris traveling to Pakistan via the Atari border. The 2 from South Kashmir had crossed over to Pakistan, but there was no record of their re-entry. It is likely they returned to India from the Katwa side in Jammu." The officials also said that what's also now known is that these 2 local terrorists mingled with the tourists before the attack commenced. In fact, they herded the tourists to a food court complex where the other 2 terrorists, suspected to be from Pakistan, fired at them at close range. Clearly, the terrorists were in and around Baisaran for 4 to 5 days, and this could not have happened without some element of local support from certain people in the area. This is what the officials said. Intelligence had also picked up signals of wireless chatter suggesting these terrorists were in and around the place. But the intelligence couldn't gather the conversation of these terrorists given the communication sets being used by them. Now, there's also concern in the government over the possibility of armed terrorists moving around. Security forces have recovered advanced weaponry such as sniper rifles, M-series rifles, armor-piercing bullets from encounter locations, many suspected to be leftover ammunition of NATO troops in Afghanistan. Officials underlined that the outpouring of anger and anguish from local Kashmiris after the killings was spontaneous. Political parties joined in only subsequently. The official said, and I quote, "In fact, it was for the first time that a special session of the assembly was called for expressing sympathy, and the speaker sought out from the administration names of all 26 killed for obituary references. There have to be some learnings from the past," the official said, referring to how the union government had framed the return of normalcy to growing tourism and record tourist inflow.